Diploma in Junior Primary Education, Religious, Moral and Life Skills Education 11. This is the content-based contact session of Mrs. A. van Heerden for the examinations 2021. Welcome to this important module. In this unit, you will study the concept religion and relate it to moral values. You will understand why RME is included in the junior primary phase, as well as the syllabus aims for the phase. You will note how RME is related to other subjects in cross-curricular issues. In this presentation, I will teach the following. I will advise you on how to study. I will discuss the exam paper and the technical aspects thereof. For example, how to complete the cover page and the rules of the examination. I will advise you on how to answer your paper correctly. I will teach you how to use the verbs in your questions to receive optimum marks. I will narrow down and summarize some important parts of your study guide and show you how questions can be asked on these parts, as well as how and when you can obtain help from me. Suggestions on how to study. You cannot pass the subject if you do not know the content of the study guide. You cannot start studying only one day before the examination. After receiving your study guide, immediately summarize the content. Read through this summary at least once a week. About 2 months before the examination, start studying. Do not try to study the whole content in one day, but divide it into portions that you can handle. Restudy the content on a regular basis to ensure that you remember it. Do not try to write Rmls11 and 12 in the same examination. Rather, pay enough attention to one at a time in order to pass your examination. Study the work that was summarized in this content-based context session. Use the references given to find the answers. Study the correct questions in your returned assignment, as 20% can be in the examination. Study your IOL study guide or Kindle very well, because all answers will be from this. Your exam paper. Your paper will count 120 marks, and all questions should be answered. Read your questions with care. Find the specific verb in each question that will guide you on how to answer. Make sure you know what is expected with every verb in each question. General remarks on the answering of your examination. Your exam paper consists of the following: cover page, instruction page, and questions to be answered. The cover page is divided into a left and a right column. The left column will be filled in by the tutor when marking. Please do not fill in here. The right column must be filled in by you. The right column of the coverage. The following headings can be found on the right-hand column of the cover page and must be filled in by you. Under the heading Student Details, fill in the following information: CIF or student number, surname, first names and initials, your ID number, examination center, and the student's signature. General instructions. At the bottom of the cover page, you will find the general instructions. Please read through them and make sure you understand. Number 1, questions should be answered on the question paper in the lines underneath each question. Number 2, answer all questions. Number 3, use the mark allocated for each question as a guide on how many facts you should write. It is best to number the facts underneath each other. Number 4, write neatly and legibly. If I cannot read what you wrote, I cannot allocate marks to you. Number 5, this paper consists of 8 questions. Number 6, no cheating or disturbing. Serious steps will be taken against anyone who cheats or disturbs an examination session. Examination instructions. No unauthorized material or irregularities. No asking for or giving any assistance. No cell phones. No leaving the room in the first 30 minutes. No late arrivals. The question paper or answering paper is the property of IOL and may not be kept or parts thereof removed. All answers should be on IOL pages. No smoking or eating in the examination room. Sign the checklist. The cue to answer a very good exam paper. Study your IOL study guide or Kindle very well because all answers will be from this. Do not think my marking can help you pass your exam. I cannot help you pass. I mark according to a memorandum, and my work is being moderated. I cannot give you marks when the correct facts is not written down. Only you can help yourself pass the examination by knowing your work. Read the questions in the paper until you understand what is asked. Lots of students do not understand what is asked in the questions. Answer in your own words means construct the correct facts from your study guide in your own words. It does not mean make up your own facts and stories to write down. While doing this, make sure you do not lose some important facts of the specific question. To avoid this, list and number the facts underneath each other wherever possible. Listing cannot be done when you are asked to write an essay. Understanding how to answer a question. Every exam paper is set in 3 levels of difficulty, level 1, 2, and 3. These levels are usually indicated by the specific verb that leads the question. In the front part of your study guide, you will find a list of verbs and what is expected of you when I use a specific verb. You will have to study this list or you will lose marks when not knowing what to do. The levels in your exam paper is divided as follows. Level 1 is 70%, level 2 is 20%, and level 3 is 10%. How to use the verbs in your answer. The verbs that is used most commonly. Level 1, list or name. There you only name the content. Define, describe, outline, explain, summarize, identify. Here you just give the description or explanation that you studied in your study guide. Level 2, discuss, analyze, comment, examine, design, create, investigate, and demonstrate. With these verbs, you must still use the facts from your study guide, but you cannot only give the facts as it is. Some other action is needed. For example, discuss is to give a clear description of the facts and then argue about the features. Examine is where you identify detailed features of something, give the facts, and discuss them according to a given direction, drawing a conclusion. Use the list in your study guide to find out what you will have to do with every verb above. Level 3, evaluate. That means to determine the value, the worth, quality, or success of something according to a certain criteria. Compare is when you indicate similarities or resemblances and differences of phenomena regarding particular criteria. Draw a conclusion about the similarities and differences, emphasizing the similarities. Very often, a table format is used to compare phenomena. If you are asked to compare some facts in your class, make sure you indicate which of these facts you have found in your class. Discuss critically is when students have to provide positive and negative points and draw a conclusion. Determine is to use the information given to work out the answer. Distinguish, differentiate, or contrast is where you describe two phenomena or things according to relevant criteria. Point out clearly the differences between the two sets. It is very important that you know what to do with all the verbs, as not knowing will cause you losing valuable marks. Remember, for a level 3 question, any of the verbs in the questions can be replaced with any of the following level 3 verbs. Discuss critically, evaluate, compare, and argue about. Your answer will then differ from the level 2 answer in that some additional actions must be added to the original facts. Please make sure in your study guide of what you should do when finding these verbs. Important parts to study in the study guide. Use the references given to find the answers. For example, number 1.2.2 means heading number 1.2.2 in your IOL study guide. Also try to apply different verbs to each part of the work to see how this alters the answer if a question is asked. I indicated the level, but remember, if the verb change, the level will also change. And I may formulate the question with another verb in the examination. Unit 1. In paragraph number 1.1.3, a level 1 question, you should be able to define the concept religion for 4 marks. Also in number 1.1.3, level 1, know that in order to understand the different beliefs in the supernatural, we have to look at some concepts about the belief in God and be able to define the concepts theistic, God, theism, atheism, and agnosticism. Number 1.3.3 is a level 3 question. You must be able to evaluate the aims of RME in the junior primary phase in Namibia. When asked to evaluate, marks will be awarded for evaluation and the determination of the success. Number 1.5.1, level 1. In RME, as in the teaching of all other subjects in the junior primary phase, the learning is based on a standard of learner-centered education. This approach ensures the best quality of learning when teachers practice 5 specific principles. You should be able to name and describe the following principles: learner-centered education, appropriate teaching strategies, know the learners and the learning material, thematic approach, integrated approach, work in groups, pairs, and individually. In number 1.6.4.1, a level 1, you must study the 4 main things that Christians believe. You should be able to draw the triangular depicting the Holy Trinity for 6 marks. Also study the following facts on Christianity. The Christian Holy Scripture or text is the Bible. It is divided into the following parts: the Old Testament and the New Testament. Christians worship in churches. There are 2 main branches of the Christian church: the Roman Catholic Church and the Protestant Church. Christian spiritual leaders are called priests in the Catholic Church and ministers or pastors in the Protestant Church. The most important holy city for Christians is Jerusalem. The 2 most important Christian holidays are Easter and Christmas. In number 1.6.4.2, level 1, you should study the 5 indigenous religions of Namibia. Number 1.8.6, level 1 and 2, you must learn that rules can be split into 4 sets. You should be able to list these sets and comment on them. Number 1.8.6, level 1, presents the relationships between religions and rules to be studied. Number 1.11.3, level 1, when we study the value or worth or humanness of human beings, we often start by asking ourselves some questions and then seeking answers. Study these. Number 1.11.3.1, level 2, identifies 4 characteristics of man that differentiates us from animals. Number 1.12.4 says level 1. You will find that when teaching morals and values to young children, certain principles and practices should be applied by the teacher. These are very important. Unit 2, from number 2.1.3, level 1, study the definitions of value, idea, attitude, and behavior. Number 2.1.4, level 2, study the influences values have on attitudes, ideas, and behavior, and be able to analyze this. In number 2.4.3, level 2, you will find a table that contains the negative behavior of adults as well as children. Within the adjacent column, negative values as well as one positive value that are ignored in each case. Please study. Combine number 2.5.4 with 2.6.4 for a level 3, and you should be able to evaluate the global idea that living according to values, laws, and rules is very important. Number 2.7.3, level 1, you will find the basic universal human needs supplied with examples thereof. Study these. Number 2.7.4, level 1, states there are a few questions we can ask ourselves by which we can identify what values we affirm involving your career choices and your personal life. Number 2.9.3, level 1 and 2, the reasons for negative social behavior may have 3 groups of causes. In table form, provide the names of these 3 groups and provide each group with a cause or symptoms that may be a reason for negative behavior. Number 2.9.4, level 1. Study the forms of behavior that are regarded as negative social behavior. Number 2.9.5 is a level 1 and level 3. Be able to predict the relationship between negative social behavior versus crime and corruption, and how negative social behavior can lead to crime and corruption under the following headings. What is crime? What is corruption? When does corruption occur? Reasons for the worsening of corruption in African societies, and conclusion. Number 2.9.5, level 2. Investigate how the effects of negative behavior that can lead to crime and corruption. Unit 3, number 3.1.3, level 1. Study the 4 areas in which feelings you play a vital role in helping us in life. Number 3.1.4.1, level 1. Find the 4 only exclusively negative feelings that do not seem to bring anything positive forth. Number 3.1.4.3, level 1 and 2. When experiencing positive feelings, our lives become easier. We are more relaxed and accessible to other people. Be able to list at least 4 life-changing positive feelings. State where these feelings come from and relate how they make us feel. Number 3.2.4, level 1 and 2. American psychologist D. Goleman says that we are not necessarily born with emotional intelligence. It involves skills that have to be learned and developed, and you should be able to justify emotional intelligence, according to Goleman. Comment on the 2 skills, according to Goleman, improving emotional intelligence that can be taught from infancy, as well as the 2 skills, according to Goleman, improving emotional intelligence that a child can learn a little later in life. Number 3.4.4.1, level 3. When studying the leadership styles identified by Daniel Coleman, you should be able to discuss or compare any of the styles with each other. Learning activity 3.5.1 for level 1. Problem solving is a controlled process. Study the specific steps to follow as a guideline to problem solving, as well as the relevant questions that could be asked as conclusion to your discussion of each. Number 3.5.4, level 1. Study 5 steps to solve problems systematically. Number 3.8.5, level 2. Managing stress is an essential emotional intelligence life skill. Investigate how you can apply the skill life skill in your life. Unit 4. Number 4.1.3 and 4.1.4, Level 1. Study everything regarding nutrition, food groups, etc. Number 4.2.3.1 and 4.2.4 for Level 1. How we should learn to accumulate some positive habits as part of our shopping routine to become intelligent shoppers who can live within the limits of our salaries. Also, 3 specific questions you should ask yourself before buying unlisted and the matters to concern when wanting to shop intelligently. In number 4.3.6, study the advantages to the disadvantages of financial loans. Number 4.5.5 and 1 and 2, Level 2, teaching is a very rewarding profession. However, it can generate high levels of stress and fatigue that can lead to depression and burnout if not addressed. There are many stresses that can contribute to this. Study these stresses and create a plan of action to avoid these stresses. Number 4.8.5.1, Level 1. Study the basic personal hygiene habits and preventative measures that we have to take to enhance our overall health and minimize our risk of infection, as well as the reasons why we need to exercise our bodies regularly. Number 4.8.6.4, Level 1. Study how one could protect and prevent yourself from abusing addictive substances. Number 4.11.8, Level 1. The saying, if you want children to keep their feet on the ground, put some responsibility on their shoulders. Emphasize the importance of discipline. Explain why disciplining your children is of utmost importance for their future, including acceptable measures of discipline. Number 4.12.3 and 4.12.3.1.1 and 2, Level 1 and 2. Be able to explain how a competent teacher should exhibit appropriate working habits and behavior, as well as the characteristics that such a teacher should display. Make sure you understand the difference between characteristics and responsibilities here. Unit 5. In Unit 5 and 6, there are lots of examples of RME lessons that could be asked. When asked, read the instructions very well before answering. When answering, follow this plan. First, list the basic competencies that should be mastered if asked. Second, draw a 2-column table. Under activities, you list the activities according to what is asked. Under materials and resources, supply each activity with a specific material or resource. Match the activity with the material or resource. Unit 6, number 6.10, and learning activities. Level 2. Study all types of assessment as prescribed by NIED, the ways of recording these assessments, as well as the table with grades, percentages, and descriptions as per number 6.10.5. Add to this number 5.10.5.2, calculating the final marks. Short questions can be asked on this. For example, when assessing learners in the pre-primary phase, a 3-point assessment scale is used, and a 3 means fully mastered the basic competencies. NM stands for not yet mastered on the assessment scale used in the pre-primary phase and means that the learner has not mastered the basic competencies. At the end of the term, the mark for each component is added, and the average marks in each of the component columns are calculated by doing the following: dividing the total mark by the number of assessments. To the student, if you failed the previous exam, make sure that you obtain a report on what you did wrong from Iol officers. Please use the references provided with the material above to find the answers and study them for your examination. If you have a question you would like to ask, it is best to email it to your tutor, Mrs. van Heerden, and she can give you a well-constructed answer. You can also mail and ask for a summary about a month before the exam. When emailing, name your course code, subject code, RMLS, and the tutor, because I am the tutor in different courses. Due to poor cell phone reception, phoning me might not give the same positive result as an email, but when you must phone me, please adhere to the following calling times: Mondays to Tuesdays, 9 a.m. to 20 p.m., Fridays, 9 a.m. to 13 p.m. No calls will be answered during weekends, especially on Sundays. Also, please note that the tutors do not work in the Iol office. We are part-time workers and cannot help you with any administrative problems. I cannot help you with problems concerning your subject content. I wish you all the best of luck for your examination. And this is for Annette van Heerden.